So I think to kick off the episode, we got one comment. Let's just answer the question real quick, and then we'll kind of dive in. Do we really want Kirk? What's with so many people wanting to get Browns to get these pass around QBs? I would take Kirk Cousins. I'm not saying I think Kirk Cousins is the future, but I take Kirk Cousins as a bridge. I know he didn't play well like his last so many games. It was 1 touchdown, 8 picks or something like that. But I think he was playing in an offense that wasn't necessarily suited to his strengths. I know he had weapons, but it wasn't suited to his strengths, I don't think.
Sure.
It's not like Penix went in there and just lit it up either, you know. I also think he was getting over the Achilles injury early. And then just as he started to kind of find a groove, because he had a couple game stretch there where I was like, okay, Kirk Cousins is back. And then I think he got a busted up shoulder or elbow or something like that, and he was injured again. He couldn't move, couldn't take hits. I think if you get Kirk in here, you get him in what we believe to be is going back to a more Kevin Stefanski-centric offense, a guy who he's already played for, so he's going to be familiar with the verbiage and all that good stuff. I think he could be a good bridge quarterback for a season or two, and you could play high-level football, which we're going to talk draft. I think if you get a guy like Kirk and all of a sudden you're competitive, you win a lot of games, you're not going to be picking high, which is why I think while you have the number 2 pick, like I said, we'll get to the draft. I think you should be focusing on quarterback. But I would take Kirk Cousins. I would take Derek Carr. I just think the Browns need a grown-up at the position this year.
Oh, boy.
No matter who.
I'm so tired of hearing that. Don't do that.
No matter who we draft or what, I think we need a bridge guy to let our young guy learn for a season or two and not just shove him into the fire. And also to get back kind of the trust of the vets like Bitonio, Denzel Ward, Myles Garrett. Like, these guys don't want to go through a rebuild. They want to play meaningful football next year. So I think bringing in a vet could do that.
Absolutely. I think that I know we all want the quarterback of the future. We want the position answered and all that kind of stuff. And trust me, I'm sure every NFL team would love to have Jaden Daniels or a Bo Nix come in as a rookie year 1 and show that, hey, I am that guy. And guess what? I can get you to the playoffs already. That's fantastic. And it's not realistic for all 32 teams. You got to have a bridge quarterback in some situations. And I think we're in that situation. I don't think there is a rookie quarterback in this class coming in who's going to be Bo Nix or Jane Daniels, take you to the playoffs in year 1. I think you need a good bridge quarterback like Kirk Cousins. And I mean, it does do a lot to earn the trust, like you were talking about, of the other players in the locker room, because what quarterback had the most success in Cleveland this year? It was Jameis Winston. I mean, and it wasn't like fantastic, but it was enough to get the team. We were hyped. The team felt more hyped. There was actually a chance of winning games. Last year was Joe Flacco. Now, these aren't long-term answers at the quarterback position, but they're bridging just enough to give you that spark that you need.
Ding, 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 guys. I think you got both great answers. I'm with you. I don't know if there's a guy in this class that's going to come in immediately and be ready day 1, right? And from what we've seen, guys that get to sit a little bit, it's positive for them. It's worked out for Jordan Love for the most part. Guys that have sat for a little bit, Rodgers, another one, just sat and got to, get some experience. And then when they were ready to go in, nothing, we're good to go. I'm with you guys though. I think they do need to bring in somebody, at least to make, the vets, like you said, feel like we're not completely mailing it in. And another guy would throw in I like Carr. I like Kirk Cousins. Are we completely against bringing Flacco back for 1 year? I know he's a year older, but I'm saying if we're going to bring somebody in, are we completely against that?
I'll never say I'm completely against it, because that was fun football. You know what I mean? Yeah. And he's a good dude. He was good in the locker room and all that. But man, he did not play very well in Indy with a guy who we think is a good offensive coach, good running back, good wide receivers. And even when he was here, he turned the ball over a lot.
Sure. Yeah. Yes.
You know what I mean? And it was like high risk, high reward. If we wanted that, we just would have rolled with Jameis all year. Yep. I think there's better bridge guys out there. I think Kirk Cousins is a guy who can give you the touchdowns without all the picks. And again, if you look at the last few games before he got benched, obviously you're going to say he's terrible. But if you look at his body of work, Kirk Cousins has been very, very high level quarterback in this league for a long time.
Yeah, he definitely has been.
He was Kirk Cousins this year. They were doing the chain thing again with him. I mean, he had a huge Monday night game where he had almost 500 yards, 5 tutties or something like that.
He was healthy for like a month.
Yeah.
And in that month, he played pretty well. He was really starting to get, and then I think he got banged up again.
I think too many people are looking at Cousins and using the or overlooking the impact of the Achilles injury and recovery and using that to say washed up because he's a little older. I don't think he's washed up. I just think that he's recovering. And I think
there's something
a year removed from that.
Another thing with Kirk too is I trust Kirk to put in the work.
Yes, yeah.
Like especially if you watch that the quarterback
on Netflix.
Netflix.
Yeah.
Like Kirk Cousins does a lot to like make sure he's mentally ready, physically ready, emotionally ready. I mean, the guy is like what you want in the quarterback position in terms of preparation outside of what's mandated by the team. Like I trust Kirk Cousins to come in, put in the work, be healthy, know the offense, you know, all the things that we want out of the quarterback position that quite honestly we haven't had in a very long time. So
yeah. So we had a voicemail. We're going to use this at the end, but this is from Michael and actually ties into what we're talking about now. So I'm just going to play it now if that's cool.
Okay. Yep.
Hi guys, thanks for this opportunity. I have been a Browns fan since 1960, so I'm an old guy, and I watched with great disappointment in 2018 when the Browns passed up Josh Allen. But now there's a second coming, and his name is Joe Milton, 6'5", 250, sits on the bench in New England. I pray that the Browns trade for him and give him the opportunity to be the Browns franchise quarterback. I'm not sure why no one else in any of the social media platforms I've seen hasn't raised an eyebrow and given this a thought. But I appreciate your input. I just found you on YouTube and look forward to hearing more about the Browns and your insight. Have a great weekend. Go Browns.
So he's talking about Joe Milton, rookie quarterback from Tennessee. I think, what was he, 4th or 5th round pick last year for the Patriots, something like that.
So what I want to, first of all,
good for you.
Guy sounds great for probably
bro.
like what 70.
Good Lord.
He said he's been a fan since
a fan since 60. So and you have to live that, deal with all that.
Bro, I hope I sound that good when I'm, up in the year. So
I don't sound like that now.
Hopefully I still.
Jesus, good for you, brother.
So appreciate you calling in, being a fan of the show, and finding us. That's awesome. I don't know enough about Joe Milton to be like, oh, he gives you great this and this. I just don't know. I obviously know in the little bit that he did get to play, he showed some things. Yeah. I'm not trading for Joe Milton and saying, hey, you're our day one starter. I would trade for Joe Milton and put him behind a guy like Kirk Cousins or in competition with a guy like Kirk Cousins. And I would put him on the team, but I'm not handing him the keys to the car because he was a 4th or 5th round draft pick. He's still considered a project guy. Yep. You know what I mean? Could you bring him here and say you don't want to draft a rookie this year and you trade for him, and you put him at 2, then you still have a bridge quarterback for a year or 2, and then he already sat 1 year, so maybe he only sits another year, learns behind a guy, learns the offense, and then you could but I'm not just trading for Joe Milton saying, here's our franchise guy and handing him the keys to a 5th round pick without making him earn it a little bit.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. From what I've seen, and I've seen him only in, like you said, little flashes, a game here, a little bit here, a quarter here, kind of lit it up. I mean, it's nice, but you have to also keep him, with the context. We're talking week 18.
We're talking preseason.
Yeah.
Preseason. We're talking
everybody looks good.
And we're talking not just going against second string, but 3rd string, 4th string.
Vanilla defenses.
Because he wasn't even like the starter for some of those preseason. It was Drake May. So I feel I got like DTR worries about that. Like, yeah, he looked really good in a couple preseason games. He'd probably look good against a 3rd string defense too, or a team that's resting for the playoffs. But I mean, Joe Milton does intrigue me. He's got a cannon of an arm. The dude can throw the ball like the length of the field. Oh my gosh, yeah. So I mean, for the right draft capital, I mean, it's not a bad swing to take, but I wouldn't give up a ton.
No, I agree.
I don't think you really would have to, would you?
I think it probably depends on what they think of Drake May and who else is on their team at the backup position, how they feel. You know what I mean? Because we've seen it pays to have a serviceable backup. Yeah. I'm not saying you got to keep an all-pro on your bench, but you don't want to have DTR on your bench as your second string quarterback. You know what I mean?
Fair.